Time to welcome Trey to the podcast. Talk a little horse racing from Churchill Downs for Saturday. Trey, how are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Pretty good. Got to give you props for those that watched or listened last week. Trey came on his best bet in the nightcap at Churchill Downs was the 12 horse whose name I am spacing on, of course. And then you gave out the ice cold double in before that race. You said you can play Patch Adams and the 12 horse in the nightcap. Hit them both. Props to you, man. We enjoy winners here. Congratulations. That was a hell of a hit, dude.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was. We started slow, but finished strong. So that was the main point.
And you know what? Winning bets is always good. Before we get started, just wanted to ask you your opinion on the Derby winner, Sovereign, skipping the Preakness.
I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, you'd love to see a potential triple crown, but in this day and age, with the horses coming first, obviously, and we want the best for them. The horse supposedly has a cut on its leg or something minor, but they thought best to kind of rest him up, and I can't fault him for that. So I hope he runs in the Belmont, and then maybe runs a couple times this summer. So I'm still looking forward to it.
Now, follow-up question. Do you feel the best horse in the race won the Kentucky Derby?
Personally, I do, because obviously I said I like journalism and sovereignty. I think they both ran the best races. Baeza had a little bit of a rough trip, maybe a couple steps here or there. He gets closer. And Final Gambit, who ran fourth, had a terrible start. But that was one of those derbies where I feel like the best horses showed up and ran their races. And the ones that people kind of had as a heart bet didn't run very well. And the ones that hated the track obviously didn't run well either. So I think it ran to form.
Now, last question. Me and my friends were talking about this. If you had a Kentucky Derby winner, would you just immediately retire it and just start breeding?
That's a tough question because it depends what the bloodline is on that horse, because sometimes they may not have the stability to produce. Like Into Mischief, who was the sire of the Derby winner. That horse, I looked it up today. He ran 6 times in his life. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden he just decided to go to the breeding shed, and he's the top producer in the world. And he's 20 years old now. Mm-hmm. And he still is just, as they say, he's able just to take the mares every day and run with them. So I probably would say have to run. I wouldn't be able to do that just yet,
because we started talking. There's these huge breaks, and I got suckered in to go. Not suckered in. I went to this Derby party. Actually had a good time. And some of us were talking, and we talked about Rich Strike. If you win a horse like that, doesn't it make as much sense? Just, hey, you know what? We're just going to hang it up. We won in a fluke. Let's try to make as much money as we can breeding. Or am I just thinking about this completely wrong?
No, obviously, hindsight being 2020, that horse, the best race of his life, never going to come close to it. Hasn't even won since then. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if they offered, to be honest, a deal for breeding. Like I said, it may or may not have the right bloodline to compare. There's obviously so much stuff that goes in through inbreeding and different things like that. So it's hard to say. But in that case, if that horse was a good prospect, then most definitely probably should have taken the win and run.
Now we're going to talk about Churchill Downs today. We're going to talk about the feature race first. Race 10, the Mamzelle Stakes, post time 5:27 p.m. Eastern. Where's your head at in this race, my friend?
This is a very challenging race, to be honest, and I'm probably going to side with the favorite. She's So Spicy. The horse just won a stakes race at Keeneland in a salty group as well. Gets Jose Ortiz to ride, probably the best rider in the group there at Churchill. So I'm going to go with that 9. Maybe play with an exacta 4-7 in that race. Maybe flip it around a little bit. add some of the outside closers to maybe throw a try in there too.
Now, I'm looking at this one thing. Now, I was an idiot with my last thing I said, stayed out with the trainer's name, and I'm probably wrong with this one. Peter Urton. Isn't he usually a California-based trainer?
Yes, for the most part. I mean, he does have horses that he brought to Turfway over the winter. A lot of them have stayed. But yeah, all of his success, or most of his success and reputation, comes from California.
Now, the best bet of the day for you, we are going to race 8, post time 4:23 p.m. Allowance optional, claimer 80K. Talk to me, my friend.
Yeah, so this is another really tough race. I feel like in this race, you could probably find 7 or 8 different winners. And because of that, I'm going to be aggressive and single horse number 3, Corruption, ridden by Jose Ortiz and trained by Mark Cassie. My mindset, basically, I feel like this horse is going to be pretty close up on the rail, get a good trip, and if we can get the single home, allows us to kind of separate ourselves from the other or for the other races, and maybe spread a little bit there and catch a price.
Now, is there any kind of jockey trainer combination that you kind of like back away from?
That I back away from? There's a lot of that I back away from. I say there's a few that I would be more inclined to bet. Like if you find,
what is the one you back away from?
That's a hard question because there's a lot of combinations that I will like. A lot of people are high in Kenny McPeak. Okay. I usually try to play against him because obviously he's well known and people will back him. And if I can beat a horse of his that maybe it's a favorite, get paid. Tonight at Churchill, Sherry DeVoe had a horse that was 3-5, I think, and the horse didn't win. A 7-2 shot won the race, and then the pick 4 that one of our gentlemen on Fat Ball Guy Racing had paid $3,800. So props to him tonight for that. So,
now who are people you tend to go to?
Obviously, I'll try to go to the big names. They usually get the best crop. They usually have their horses ready. That's Brad Cox, Sherry DeVoe, Eddie Keneally. Like I said, most of the time those big horses. I know John Ennis personally. I'm a big fan of his horses and his training, and I always root for him. Anybody that's right, Lon Machado rides. I know the agent for him, and so I always want the local guys to do well. Irving Moncada was a jockey that I was able to do an interview with on the Auxiliary Gate podcast with CC. Brought us, so I always root for him too. So, like I said, there's a lot of the heart goes into it. Sometimes the brain obviously has to take over and try to find somebody that can win. But yeah, so there's different ways to look at it.
Because I know for me, I am a bitter old man. There's been a couple of race days where I've been singled to a Mike Smith horse, and he's cost me, and I've never been a Mike Smith horse since.
Yeah, I can understand. He and John Velasquez, to be honest, those are 2 jockeys. They obviously are Hall of Famers. Mm-hmm. They've kind of fallen off the map a little bit because I was obviously getting older and facing the younger guns. I try to avoid. If you're asking who I'm trying to avoid, I would probably say those 2. I'm trying to avoid, and that and Julian Leparoux is another one that I always bet against. And on Saturday, it cost me a big score. So dummy me, but I still try it.
Trey, I'd like to thank you for coming on, talking a little Churchill. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media when your podcast is coming out and everything?
Yeah, so you can find me on X at tserver24. I'm not quite sure we're going to have a podcast this weekend, but I will have a chart that I'll put up. And if you want to retweet or whatever, been tired from doing all the races on last Friday and Saturday, so may not be as in depth this week, but we'll definitely give it a shot and see what we can do.
Make sure to give my boy Trey a follow at tserver24 on X. I will retweet his selections and everything, and I will put a link to everything in the description if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on the podcast. He'll be back next week. I appreciate my man, and Good luck in your bets, my friend.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you again.